Hello my friends, yeses, this is Matilda and welcome again to Tilda's Cookbook. While we got into fall and all around us we have the beautiful colors of red and orange, it's the perfect time to make use of pumpkin. Pumpkin is considered by many to have a flat taste and a very fine aroma, at times undetectable, but underneath those traits lies a delicate sweetness which makes it the perfect choice for sweet or savory dishes. Today, using a butternut pumpkin and some extra aromatic spices, we're gonna make a delicious cake. So for that, let's get started. I'm going to use a cup and a half of pumpkin, shredded pumpkin, 2.5 cups all-purpose flour that I'm going to put through a sieve, 1 cup of white sugar, 1/4 cup brown sugar, 4 large eggs, a cup of butter, a pinch of salt, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of ground allspice, half a teaspoon of ground nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon of ground clove, a teaspoon of shredded fresh ginger, a teaspoon of vanilla, and also I'm going to use half a cup of buttermilk and 1/4 cup of coconut milk. I'm also going to use half a cup of chopped walnuts, but this is totally optional. And for the glaze, I'm going to use 1.5 cups of powdered sugar, 2 to 3 tablespoons of coconut milk. I'm going to use gradually on the sugar, and a teaspoon of coconut flakes that I'll put on top of the glaze. First of all, I'll cut and clean my pumpkin. Oh, what a beautiful color it has! I'll cut it into smaller pieces because this is going to be easier for me to peel it. I use a very sharp knife and I peel it little by little by cutting its skin. You may do it whichever way is easier for you, like putting it on your board and cutting it little by little with a larger knife. You just have to be very careful with it because it's very hard. And I also try with this sharp knife to take as little of the inside part as possible. In Greece we have a fruit called kidoni, which is like a sour pear, and it's equally hard, but it makes also a wonderful dessert. Okay, I've peeled half of my pumpkin and I'm going to shred it now. If you decide to do it this way, just watch your fingers. The shredder is really very helpful. Standing down. This half pumpkin gave me exactly 1.5 cups, full cups, and I weighed it and it was 200 grams. And the remaining of the pumpkin I cover it with a plastic wrap and it stays in the refrigerator for 3 to 4 days. So now we're ready to do the rest of the batter. First of all, I put the eggs. I'm using a stand mixer, but you can do it by hand if you want to. I pour in the sugar, the white sugar. And I start mixing it by putting at first the speed on 2. It's a low speed. And then I put the dark sugar. Mix it for 2 to 3 minutes until my sugar is a little bit dissolved. And then I'm ready to put my butter in, which is kind of soft now because I've left it at room temperature. And give it a mix for 4 to 5 minutes until it becomes fluffy. I had to change the head and put the whisk on because that would incorporate my mixture better. And I increased the speed to 4. While my butter is mixing up, I sift my flour and put all the spices inside and give it a little mix to have it ready for later on. Four minutes later, my butter is ready, it's fluffy enough. So I changed my heads again and I put the K head on because the mixture is gonna become a bit harder and thicker. So I put half of the flour with the spices inside. And first I use low speed on 2 again, and gradually I increase it to 4 or 5, depending on the machine that each one has. After it's mixed for a while, I'm putting in the buttermilk. And the coconut milk. And then I add the vanilla. And I start putting the rest of the flour little by little to help it incorporate with the rest of the butter. After it's mixed for a few minutes, I turn it off. And at this point, I'm putting in my pumpkin. It was just about time. I also put my oven to preheat at 180 degrees. And I also add the remaining of the flour mixture. I put it to mix again, starting at low speed. And then I add my final ingredient, the fresh ginger. Oh my God, it has a wonderful smell. And I let it mix for 30 seconds to a minute before it's ready to be put into my pan. I have buttered and floured my pan, although it was a non-stick one, but just to be on the safe side. And I pour my mixture in, just spreading it to even it out. And I make sure it goes only on the 2/3 of my pan, because it's gonna rise. And the remaining I'm gonna make some wonderful little pumpkin muffins. Right before they go into the oven, I sprinkle my chopped walnuts on top of my cake. And I use my spatula to mix them in a little bit. The cake is gonna bake for 50 to 60 minutes. And I give it a little tap before putting it in. I checked my muffins, they were ready at 25 minutes. I did the toothpick test by putting it in. When it comes out clear, they're ready. And my cake took about 60 minutes to get ready. I did the test with a thin knife because I wanted it to go all the way in. It got out clear, so it was ready. So I let it cool down for 10 minutes before taking it out of the tray. After 10 minutes, I take my spatula and go all around it to make sure it's not stuck on the edges. Very lightly, we don't want to break it. And then I turn it upside down to take it out of the tray. Look how beautiful it is, and it smells wonderful. So you'll either put it on your rack to let it cool down completely, or leave it in the tray as I do, because this way it keeps its moisture. Now that my cake has completely cooled down, I'm ready to make the glaze. I put the sugar in, and I start gradually with the coconut milk, because the powdered sugar becomes liquid very easily. I finally use the whole thing, and this is the texture that the glaze needs to have. It's kind of watery. So I take my cake out of the pan, put it on a little plate, and I'm ready to pour in the sugar glaze. Finally, I sprinkle some coconut flakes on it, and my cake is ready.
Okay, now we're ready to make the test, and I'm gonna cut a piece from the middle to show you. That looks, on the way it's cut, it looks delicious. It like this. Take it out. Looks so yummy. I hope I like it. Yeah. I put it on the plate. It's so really looks delicious. Look at this. Nice and moist and fluffy. So let me taste it. Oh my god. Let me tell you, it's incredible. Even I didn't believe it was going to come so nice. I'm just gonna go and make a cup of coffee now and eat it like that.
If you like this recipe and my video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit the bell button so that you'll get notified on new uploads, and I hope to see you in another video. Until next time, happy baking και καλή σας όρεξη. Bye bye everyone!